Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fastball Sports Network WWE podcast. It's still a mouthful. I am Frank. That is Mark. Mark, how are we doing today?
I'm doing all right. We're a little caught off guard there by Zoom. I don't know if that was in the recording or not, but it's been a while for both of us. We haven't really recorded or honestly talked extensively about WWE. I feel like it's not an unpopular opinion that it's been really, really tough to watch as of late, but we're excited going into back to fans and to the Thunderdome era. Hopefully things pick up again.
Yes, Friday Night SmackDown is tonight, and there are fans back in the arena. And honestly, I just hope that they put on a really good show. It's a go-home show, which to me, that kind of stinks because I feel like they could pull out all the stops and like a show after the pay-per-view or like a second show after a pay-per-view. But the go-home show, the storylines are kind of already written. So we'll see what kind of wrenches they throw in tonight. But I think the big moneymaker, I mean, obviously, is going to have to be the pay-per-view Sunday night. That's going to be in front of a live crowd. Obviously, they did WrestleMania in front of a live crowd, but they haven't done a show since. That was the first show in a very long time. But this is like the fans are actually back now. So we're going to see. They say they've been waiting to pull out all the stops. So we're going to see tonight. We're going to see Sunday. Monday is going to be a big deal. And, of course, next Friday. And we're going to talk about everything in a few minutes. But the first thing is I want to actually turn back the clocks. Like you said, we did miss a bunch of time. I want to talk about the cuts really quickly. And I know we talked about this, but Braun Strowman caught us both off guard, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was the obvious, like, oh, wow, when that happened. At this point, we're talking about months ago. So it's kind of, I mean, there's been some rumors AEW, there's been some rumors New Japan for him, but like, me personally, I think he's going to come back eventually. I think they're just going to re-sign him maybe like a year or two, and then he'll just come back. It's really tough because I think he's going to have the same issue he had here, where you can't book him like unless you just book him to dominate. Like you can't book him to have like a compelling, like tough, hard storyline unless it's against like Roman Reigns. Like he's the only guy that like you could be like, oh, maybe he could beat him in this scenario that he like wrestles a guy, but. No, yeah, he was the only like, oh wow, like they actually did that, and Aleister Black because he was just starting a storyline. But
The other one I was kind of surprised about, but I guess they had it coming once they split them up was the Iconics. I was like a little surprised that they wound up doing that because everything you heard was like, all right, Peyton Royce, but then it never like a lot of people, honestly, it never translated to the product. But then you always felt like they were going to at least keep her around. I don't know, to do something, but then it just never materialized.
and Billy Kay got like 5-7 minutes of airtime on SmackDown every single week, and she wouldn't even wrestle. Like they were both like very. I don't know if Peyton Royce is well positioned, but like you said, she was always talked about. They always talked about like putting her into these big matches.
Mm-hmm.
She had that one segment on Raw Talk, which I think got a lot of people like looking over at her. She like said like, "Why don't I get a chance?" and anything, and then she got fired like a month later. But no, yeah, for sure. Obviously, that's another thing where the women's division in both Raw and SmackDown is kind of just non-existent right now. They called up like 3 girls from NXT this past week. It's just
very exciting too. Shotzi Blackheart, Tegan Knox, tons of fun.
Yeah, it's exciting. And Toni Storm was the third. She has her vignettes now, but it's just
probably the biggest. Who's probably the biggest name of the 3. I probably should have led with her.
But she's probably like the champion of them, like the go win the belt. But it's just. I don't know. And I was ranting to you yesterday. We'll get to the Money in the Bank match, but they put in the tag team champions in the match. Like that's terrible to me. It's just I don't know.
And then speaking of those call ups, do you think that part of those call ups were a reaction to Bayley, who's now going to be out for an extensive amount of time? We probably won't see her until the build up to WrestleMania if we're lucky, right? I mean, she's going to be out.
Yeah, it sucks. 9 months. She's definitely in jeopardy of missing Mania. If she doesn't miss Mania, she's gonna come back like right before Mania.
It'll be earliest the Royal Rumble. We'll see Bayley.
I think it sucks more because what she did at Mania this year, how she was slapped by the Bellas and like disrespected by Hulk Hogan. I don't know. It's just
at least she can't have the follow-up match with the Bellas if she misses WrestleMania though.
Yeah, they'll just save it for like SummerSlam or something the next year. But I think it definitely could have been a response because Tegan Knox returned to NXT TV like the week prior from her like long injury, and she like confronted Candice LeRae. They have like a history or whatever, and then they just called her right up. And they sent Mandy down too, which I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, Mandy's back on. Well, to me, like this did not make a ton of sense because I was looking at it and I was like, okay, Raw's stacked. they're going to get another person back who we'll talk about a little later. And I was thinking, well, maybe not stacked, but Raw wasn't struggling with female talent. Like they had a bunch. And then SmackDown was really just Carmella, Liv Morgan, Bailey, and Bianca. And then obviously Sasha's there, but she's not there right now. So there's 4 women on SmackDown, and one of them got very severely injured. So it kind of made sense to me where it was like, okay, well, if they needed to keep the NXT women's division like somewhat juicy, but they needed to bring up more talent to SmackDown, and then Raw was like the denominator where it's like, okay, Raw had too much talent, but I guess they could have just brought Mandy over, but they didn't do that. So I don't know. It's not up to me. I think Mandy actually needed an NXT run just to kind of sharpen up her skills, because I feel like she's another one where they talk about her like Peyton Royce, where like they really like her. We hear Vince really likes her. Vince likes those like big muscles and stuff like that. Mandy's a bodybuilder, obviously. But she just never does anything. You know what I mean? Like even when even when her and Dana were like kind of gaining some momentum, they never even got close to those tag team titles. So I think they got one singles match. One like tag team match at pay-per-view, and that was it. Everything else was like multi-women matches and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like I'm not crazy about the tag team of Mandy and Dana, but they've been a tag team for a long time, and they're one of the only 3 or 4 real tag teams they had, and now it looks like they're not a thing either. Like I don't know if Mandy plans on. I don't think she's gonna do both, right? She's not gonna do Raw and NXT.
I mean, I guess we'll find out Monday, but it seemed like she was back the way she was tweeting and Instagramming and stuff like that.
That leaves Dana like in limbo, but I've said to you she'll never get cut. I don't know how, but she'll be here forever. So
Dana Brooke.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a bodybuilder too, so
Yeah.
All right. And while we're with the women's division, actually, 2 things I want to talk about. The first one, we had our first glorious return of the quarantine error in Eva Marie. And it's weird. I am gonna be honest. I don't love the sidekick. I think the whole thing is strange. And like this kind of reminds me of the Alexa Bliss Nia Jax storyline from WrestleMania a few years ago, where they like had like Alexa like boss around Nia Jax, and then Nia realized she was bullying her and like stopped it. But Alexa was always like fun and playful with it.
Yeah.
Eva Marie is just straight up mean to this woman. And what do they call her? What's her name again? I'm forgetting her name.
It's Dewdrop.
Dewdrop. Why?
I'll say something about that in 1 second about her name. But I think the biggest problem with this, as opposed to the Nia and the Alexa, is they didn't like establish a relationship first. They didn't like have them like be friends first, and then Eva did this. Like from day one, Eva like was pushing her around, and like they started like what's the word? They already started the breakup like before they started being a team.
Yeah, it's super weird. And Dewdrop wears a dog collar too, which I think that's what throws me off out of
I didn't even know that happened.
Maybe it's not a dog collar, but whatever she wears on her neck like looks like a dog collar. And like, or at least Monday, she had like this heart charm on it, but it literally looks like the tag that would hang down on a dog collar. And I'm like, is that what they're trying to tell us? Are they trying to tell us that Eva Marie thinks of her as almost like her guard dog? Because that's literally what it feels like. She's actually really impressive in the ring, Dewdrop, but I just wish we gave her a real name. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, she's Piper Niven on like NXT UK, and like everyone said she's really good. One of the people on Twitter I follow said she's like a Pokemon in the sense that she only says her name, and I laughed at that. That was something that popped me.
Alexa Bliss cut a great promo with them on Monday. It was excellent. She just kept saying her name. She's like, "Oh, I love your name," and then Eva Marie kept telling her to stop. It was actually really entertaining. Alexa's obviously really good at that stuff. But yeah, that I honestly I'm uncomfortable when they come on, and I don't want to say like I'm knocking it. Like Eva Marie's doing a great job because she's making me feel uncomfortable. Like she's making me believe that she literally thinks she's better than this woman, like off the screen. You know what I mean? Like it's weird. It's strange, but I don't necessarily hate it, but I'm very weirded out by it. Anyway, while we stay in the women's division, we'll stay in the women's for one more thing, and we have to talk about the looming return of a possible Becky Lynch, possibly Sunday, maybe tonight but I don't know if they would use that tonight, but it is the first time in front of fans for real. Like WrestleMania was like not fake in front of fans, but like it didn't really count because it wasn't really like the back. Like tonight we're back,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, could we see Becky Lynch tonight on Friday Night SmackDown?
I don't think so. I think that's too big of a pop. I think that's definitely for the pay-per-view. But I was telling you yesterday, I think tonight's probably Sasha, in my opinion. I think they want to do something to make people pop. Sasha has been off TV, like 2 months now since WrestleMania, maybe a little more. That works. It's Sasha's music. The crowd goes nuts. She confronts Bianca. She confronts Carmella. She does something of note, of stature. And then there's obviously other rumors going around. Some big names are coming back. But for tonight, I think tonight's going to be pretty standard. I don't think anything crazy happens tonight.
Pretty by the book.
Yeah.
Okay. So while we're talking about returns, we've got a few other names that we have to talk about. We'll start with Brock Lesnar. And was rumored that he was coming back. Now it's rumored that maybe not right now. Where do you see him fitting in? Where do you see him possibly coming back in this timeline of fans are back, Brock Lesnar's back?
Well, I think we always thought Lashley was the obvious candidate because they always had their rumored thing where they both wanted to wrestle each other. That was like well documented. Obviously, he'll always be linked to Roman, especially with Paul Heyman there as well. So like those are two of the obvious. He's not going to come back and not fight for a title. Like he's not going to come back to fight some random guy in a non-title match. It's not what Brock does. It doesn't seem like he's in the current plans. There's some other names that be thrown around right now for the two matches, and it seems like he's going to be on the back burner for now.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think we'll probably talks will probably heat up again anytime a Big Four comes around. So if he misses SummerSlam, the next time we'll probably hear about him is for Survivor Series. At that point, we'll have been 3 months after SummerSlam, so it'll be time for another big pop, and I think he could provide that. I mean, obviously he can. He's one of those guys where when he's not holding a championship, I love watching his matches because he's obviously a unique character in the likes that we've never seen and probably never will see again in WWE. Someone who just absolutely demolishes opponents no matter like what happens. And I know people will probably be like, oh, well, you could go back to this, and this. But the way Brock Lesnar like held championship for a year, showed up like once a month, like that is unique.
Yeah.
I didn't love it, but it is unique to Brock. So he's a once in a lifetime type of superstar. So I hope to see him back soon. I hope that they don't decide to put a championship on him, but we'll see. Like you said, he does like to fight for those. So anyway, the next one, probably the biggest name in the history of the WWE, John Cena, coming back. We're hearing next week. And I don't think we've seen John wrestle in quite a bit of time.
It's been since the Firefly Funhouse match with Bray, his last.
And that wasn't even a real wrestling match.
Was it Undertaker before that?
You have to go back, and that wasn't even a real wrestling match. That was
was there a match in between that?
I don't know. I'm actually not sure, but I don't think there was. I think like you'd have to go back to like probably like 17 or 18 to the last time John actually wrestled a full match.
Like AJ, I don't know, maybe like
yeah.
Roman, like one of those matches.
AJ when he won the belt. Oh, Roman, that was probably his last feud. Roman beat him on the way out the door. I think that was probably his last like real feud. But this time around, that war of words, Roman was not ready for it. The first time around, I think he's ready for it this time around, though.
Yeah, I mean, the promos will be epic for sure. The matches are going to be interesting, or the match, I don't know if it would be matches plural. Roman has to win, right? Like,
are you worried that John still can't go?
I don't know if I'm worried that he can't go. I think it's just like, I don't think this is a match that you think about as like a 5-star epic proportion match.
See, I think when Roman gets going, like the way he has, he's good. Like he's very good at wrestling.
No, Roman's awesome. I just worry about
Roman might be better at wrestling than John ever was. Like actual like in mat wrestling.
I don't think that's a crazy take. I'm just saying like the two styles of wrestling, I'm not sure how they're gonna collide.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. Like obviously John's a little older. He hasn't had a real match in years. But I mean Roman can carry him. We'll see. I'm not gonna say John needs to be carried. We gotta see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, listen, that is a match that regardless of the styles or anything like that, we kind of have to see again because we saw it the first time, but they were both like buddy buddy good guys. This is going to be the war of words that's going to play out in the ring before the match. The symbolism of some of the attacks that Roman's probably going to attack John, and honestly, I feel like knowing John, we're gonna get a Friday night SmackDown between like Jey Uso and John Cena, and I think it's gonna be. I think it's all gonna be phenomenal. Like I'm very excited for the lead up to SummerSlam. If I'll tell you this, if John Cena comes back Friday night SmackDown every single night, is going to be must tune in, must watch. You need to see what they're saying about each other, regardless of what else is going on.
Yeah.
And we might have a Money in the Bank playing into all of this, which we will get into in a second. But if it's one of the guys in the match, then the promos could get even wilder. And I was thinking about this the other day, but we'll get to that in a little bit later when we talk about Money in the Bank. Last guy, I just wrote LOL Goldberg. Now it's rumored that Goldberg is going to be Bobby Lashley's opponent for SummerSlam. I hate this. I don't want to see Goldberg in a title match. I get it. Bring back Goldberg. He's a big name. Why do we have to do it for the WWE Championship? That's my only beef.
You have to. Like
Uh,
it's not. I'm just saying it's true. Like you don't bring him back to fight. To fight Sheamus for the U.S. title. Like no one cares about
that would
that.
be awesome.
No one.
Sheamus Goldberg U.S. title.
You're one of 7 people who would care about that. It's just it doesn't. It's the draw. It's the title. I don't have a problem with him. I really don't. Like I know like a lot. Like it's not exciting. I'm not happy about it, but it's just like I
My
get it.
problem is it's just a dud match on the card. Like he has not put on a really good match in a while.
That's
That's
more
my
Lashley
problem.
too for me. I don't love Lashley. Like he doesn't do a ton for me. He's been champion for a while. I'm a little bit more excited right now because he just like he didn't turn on MVP, but he kind of like berated MVP and he yelled at all the girls to leave. And like I thought that whole thing was weird. Like it's not a Godfather gimmick he had, but like the girls would come out with him, and they'd all like sit around, and it was just kind of like it didn't really work for him. I feel like it
Yeah.
wasn't like I don't look at him in that light, and I'm like I don't know. Lashley just doesn't do anything for me. I was kind of hoping he'd drop the title by now, but now I think he's going to hold it for quite some time because I think he'll probably beat Goldberg, and that's at SummerSlam, which means he'll probably beat Kofi, and we'll see.
The Hurt Business gimmick was great on Bobby Lashley. This new, I don't even know what you would call it, like ladies' man Lashley. Like it's not really. I agree. It's not really great. And also they should not split MVP and him up because MVP's his mouthpiece, and he's a much better mouthpiece than I think Bobby's speaking for himself. So hopefully they're thinking about that. Like I would not split him up from MVP at
I
all.
don't think they're splitting up. They can just give him like a wake up call. Like
Right.
we got to do this. Come on.
I think he obliterates Kofi in this match.
That's sad, but probably accurate.
Actually, that's actually a great lead in to Money in the Bank. We will now shift our attention to one. This to me is one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year because it represents opportunity. A lot of the times that opportunity isn't taken on somebody that needs it and more given to somebody just for the hell of it. But we'll get to that in a second. So we will start with the fact that Bianca Belair doesn't have a match. I know you said you think Sasha might be tonight. If not, Bianca Carmella screwy finish tonight on the pay-per-view, or you think they just go without a women's championship match?
I don't think Carmella gets a run back. I think it would be Sasha or no one.
So Sasha or no one. Okay. I think I'm agreeing with you. Maybe Sasha interferes in the match and it becomes a triple threat match on Sunday. I think that would be.
They could do that and have Carmella take the pin. That works.
That would be fun, and that would be a way so we didn't see the WrestleMania rematch. You know, it's a new thing. You know, yeah, Carmella in there for a wrinkle, so that would be fun. So then after that, we have the 2 tag team matches. We will start with AJ and Omos versus the Viking Raiders. I got to be honest, of all the matches on this card, this is not the one I'm looking forward to, which is probably one of the first times I'm saying that about an AJ Styles match, to be honest. But
you got to get the tag belts off AJ. We got to get him out of this situation. Like, I don't know.
So what I'm hearing you say is you want the Viking Raiders to reign supreme.
Yeah, I probably. I mean, like, it's been a while now. AJ hasn't really done anything. He's just the tag team champion, and I don't know. He actually had an interesting. Someone tweeted at him like saying how he's not used properly, and he had like a pretty good response saying he had his time, and now he's like currently trying to build up other guys and make other
Mhm.
guys into stars. But like, which I think that's a noble thing to say, and I to a degree I agree with him. He's still like a main event caliber guy. Like it's not like
Yeah.
he like fell off in terms of his ability. Like he's a guy that should be either at worst U.S. champion. Like
Right.
he shouldn't be the tag champion. Like it's
I
just like
mean, you're right. That is really nice of him that he's willing to help the other guys. We've got some of like the newer talent. I'm not going to say younger talent because I don't know how old they are in the Viking Raiders. We've got Almost, who's again, I have no clue how old he is. He could be 50, he could be 20. I really don't know. But um,
he's probably
you
like
know,
34 or 5. I don't know.
Yeah, probably like mid-30s, but I really don't know. Anyway, yeah, he like that's good for AJ. But I agree with you. I do eventually want to see him in the main event again, so hopefully they can move him there. He literally, I don't know if you realize this, but AJ Styles almost has held title like every day of his WWE career. Like he's always got a
Yeah,
championship on him. Like I don't know if he's ever been IC. He needs to get the IC championship if he hasn't, but I know he's a Grand Slam if he gets that because he's been tag team champion, he's been US champion like 100 times, he's been WWE champion twice. Like I mean, he has done it all since he's been here. He's been in Money in the Bank matches, he's been in Royal Rumbles, he's been in WrestleMania matches. He's main evented Royal Rumble with John Cena. Like literally, if you think about AJ Styles' resume and the things he's done since arriving to the WWE, it is probably one of the most decorated in that time frame. Maybe the most decorated in that time frame.
yeah. I mean, they did a really
Super
good job.
reliable too, never injured since he's been here. So all right, we'll go to the second tag team match, which I think is interesting. The Mysterios versus the Usos for the tag team titles.
Did we say who we think is going to win?
Oh, I'm sorry. Who do you think is going to win the AJ?
AJ.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right.
A little
Continue.
anticlimactic. The Mysterios versus the Usos. This is the perfect time to put the Roman Reigns stable completely on top. The family has all the titles. Do you think that that's the direction they'll go, or do you think we are going to get a Mysterios retain?
It'd be really interesting timing right after the Jimmy DUI again. I know a lot of people are saying like, is he gonna be on TV? And he was obviously on TV like that day on SmackDown. I mean, I think it makes the most sense, but this is a coin flip. They can keep the story going on SmackDown. They can have like Ray and Dominic be on John's side, and they can be like doing a 6-man tag thing and stuff. So I'll say Ray and Dominic retain tonight.
I
Sunday.
think that I agree with you. I think that Ray and Dominic are going to keep these belts, but I think they eventually do get over the Usos. I think they
Yeah.
just want to get a little farther away from this DUI thing, which, by the way, Jimmy, Jay, come on, guys. Like, come on. Like this is like the 8th time, like so many times for the DUIs. Like eventually WWE is going to have to start doing something about this because it's not okay. They are endangering people's lives.
Yeah, I'd
So
imagine. I mean, it shouldn't matter, but I'd imagine because they're in such a prominent storyline, like this is probably what saved them this time around. Otherwise, maybe this was the one that's like, all right, we don't have to do this anymore with you guys. But obviously, they're in the biggest storyline with the biggest character they have. So, like I said, it shouldn't matter, but I'm sure it played a big part in them not being penalized or affected. Yeah, that's probably a SummerSlam win for the Usos, or maybe a SmackDown win. But I think for now, Ray and Dominic will retain.
yeah, I think I could get on board with that. The next one we have the Raw Women's Tag Team. I'm sorry, the Raw Women's Championship, and that is Charlotte versus Rhea for probably the billionth time.
That's
It's
crazy.
just gonna
That's still
be
happening.
Rhea again, right? There's not really much to talk about here, right? Like screwy finish, Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch, maybe.
I mean, I'll just take Charlotte.
Just for the fun of it.
How many times has Rhea beat her like twice now?
It's been like screwy one.
I
It
know,
was
but
one real. It was one real thing, and yeah, it was one. Well, no, they did it. They did it at Wrestle. They didn't even do it at WrestleMania. That was Asuka versus Rhea. Charlotte missed WrestleMania, and then they
and then
did
they
it
had a triple
once.
threat match with Asuka.
Right. Then they did the triple threat match.
I'm just gonna
I'm
take
gonna.
Charlotte. I'm just gonna
I'm
take.
gonna. I'm gonna take Rhea. Just I
This has been
I
one of
don't
the worst, one of the worst, one of the longest feuds I've witnessed, and I just can't. Like, it's Charlotte. It's a big pay-per-view. She's lost like three big matches in a row. She's gonna win.
um I think Becky could easily get involved in this match and then just make it a no contest or a DQ somehow. And that I think at the end of the night, Rhea Ripley winds up with the belt. I'll say that.
That's
Rhea
not good
Ripley.
enough for me for Becky's return.
Well, unless she like steals a spot in the Money in the Bank, which I guess like you pointed out, both of the tag team champions are in there. They could easily take one of them out right now.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean,
I don't know what
having her
spot
come
she
out.
has.
You go.
I just don't know where they want to fit her in because right now, honestly, she could fill the void of Bayley on SmackDown, and I think if you want to do something new with her, Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch, I mean that sounds like a lot of fun to me. That could be really cool, but I don't know. I feel like they want to keep her on Raw. I feel like they have Roman on SmackDown. They know she's going to be a huge draw. They have John going to SmackDown. They want to keep her on Raw. That's just me. But listen, like I said, if we get that match, if we eventually get a Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch match at SummerSlam, I'm in. I'm in for that. I think that would be awesome.
The draft is rumored to be like a month and a half out, so I'm not sure if they want to do anything like crazy in terms of like switching people around brands. Maybe they want to like keep it to pretty much like status quo for now before everyone starts hopping around. But no, I see what you're saying. I just think that would be lackluster if her big return was like either confronting the winner of that match or like interfering in that match.
Becky actually was never drafted.
Oh,
So,
that could be
I
a
mean,
that could be a
in
loophole.
the last draft, she was never drafted. So,
All right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that means anything, but I just assume she's a Raw superstar right now because that's where we saw her basically last. But yeah, that's a good point. So then we go to the WWE Championship match, Bobby versus Kofi. We already have Bobby Lashley opponents for SummerSlam. Do we have to say anything about this match, or can we just both agree that it's going to be Bobby and move on?
You want to hear a complex fan theory I read that I was like, that could be kind of crazy.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so Big E wins the briefcase, Kofi wins the title, Big E cashes in on Kofi and turns heel.
I mean, it would be cool, but like I don't think it's gonna happen.
No, neither do I. But I was like, oh, that'd be really cool, actually.
Yeah, I mean, like that would be really, really interesting. Like Biggie and Woods come out to celebrate. Like Kofi's like battered in the ring after that match. E like kills Woods with the briefcase and then catches it in. I mean, yeah, that story writes itself. But they're not gonna.
No, Lashley's gonna win. What I just said was way too complex, crazy, and fun. Wouldn't happen. But yeah, we're gonna win. I hope it's not a Brock squash. I hope it's like a decent match.
Yeah, me too. I do think that it's going to be mostly Bobby though. Like I think it's going to be dominant. Kofi will get his like spot in, and then Bobby's going to win. Roman Reigns versus Edge. This match could be really good. Might not be. I don't really know what to think.
I'm so down on this. It's not even funny. It's just like enough. Like enough with this. Enough with. I mean, I'm not. Edge is cool. He's fine. It's
funny because you hated Edge in the build-up to WrestleMania, right? Then we went away and it wasn't Edge anymore. And now as soon as we come back, it's Edge again. So
like, come on. I mean, it's gonna be a good match, obviously. Like it's just Roman's gonna win. It's just kind of a waste of time, in my opinion. But they're planning interesting seeds between like Edge and Seth, which that's a match I'm actually intrigued in. Like we haven't seen that. Like I know Daniel Bryan was there too, but we just did this. We just did this build. We just did this whole thing. It's just
yeah, I find it funny. The promo for I guess SmackDown this week has been Michael Cole like saying like Roman Reigns has gone through everybody in the SmackDown locker room. There's nobody left, and then Edge's music hit, and I'm like, didn't he pin Edge with Daniel Bryan on top of him? Like he did. He did that already.
Edge won the Rumble, chose Roman, and Roman won. Like it's like, well, how are we like trying to spin this story in this direct? It doesn't make sense. Roman's gonna win. This is a match I hope is quick. I hope Roman squashes him. He won't, but I hope he does.
It's not going to be quick. This is going to be the second longest match on the card.
Give this match 5 minutes. Give Kofi and Lashley 20.
All right. Anyway, moving on. Let's move on to our main event. the things that we are waiting to see on Sunday night, and that is the Money in the Bank match. And I do want to ask you a question before we get into the actual matches themselves. Do you see this as a opportunity to push young talent or to solidify a vet? Because I feel like there are dueling opinions, and the WWE can't even decide what they want to do with this, which is good. I think I like the switch up between the two of them. But this Sunday, do you want to solidify a vet or do you want to push young talent?
You mean in both matches in general, like a general
I mean,
I don't
think
think
about the guys.
I don't think any of the young talent,
You've
quote
got,
unquote, are
let's
going
put it this way. You've got Ricochet, John Morrison, Riddle, E, and Nakamura, who have never been WWE champion or Universal champion before. You've got Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, who have. So it's 5 who haven't, 3 who have. In the women's match, you have Nikki Cross, Liv Morgan, Zelina Vega, Tamina. Those 4 have never been women's champion, but you have Asuka, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, and Natalya who have. So 4 on, 4 off. So you have opportunities to build up young stars here, right? Like you do. You could find someone you like in both of these matches that hasn't had the WWE Championship that you might want to see. I mean, you just talked about E. I like that idea. I don't know if that's necessarily what you want, but that is one of the ways to go. I think the build with Liv Morgan headed into the women's match has been really good in terms of what you want to see. Do I think that they'll pull the trigger on it? No, they won't.
It hasn't made
But
sense, the build for Liv Morgan.
well, no, she's like fighting that authority figure. She finally got in the match.
But like
They would put somebody in the match, she would beat them, they wouldn't put her in the match. They put somebody in the match, she would beat them, they wouldn't put her in the match. Then she finally earned her way into the match. I think it's a good story. She's this young talent, she's not proven, she's not Carmella, she's not Asuka, she's not Naomi, she hasn't won the title, she hasn't been there, so they're like just pushing her aside. But every time they push her aside, she comes back stronger and stronger and stronger. So all of this would be perfect if it came out that she was the winner of this match. But I don't think the WWE is
I
going to
don't
do that.
think any of the girls who haven't won the title have a chance. The 4 that you said, and I don't think any of them have a chance to win. The guys could. The guys could be really interesting. The girls, I don't. The girls, in my opinion, which one do you want to do first before I say?
Let's start with the girls. Let's start with the girls. Asuka, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, or what do they call her now? Nikki Ash. Was that the nickname for her superhero name? I don't know. Liv Morgan, Zelina Vega, Natalya, and Tamina. I think right away we could cross Tamina off this list, right?
I can cross Natalya, Tamina, Zelina, and Asuka off this list.
And Nikki Cross.
And Nikki Cross right out of the gate. Listen, for me, it's Alexa Bliss or Becky or Sasha. That's it.
I
don't think Liv is a champ.
I think Alexa Bliss has to be the heavy favorite going into this match because one, she's in it, and the other 2 people you named aren't in it, and I have no confirmation that they might be.
Or Tony Storm could be in it.
Right, not
Candice LeRae. Io Shirai could be in it. Like,
so the thing with Alexa Bliss is she's already won it, and her character is weird, but like I think it might actually work with this. I don't know. I think she's the heavy favorite. I do, but I don't think Naomi's gonna win just because I don't think they value Naomi the same way we do.
She's done nothing again. She does this thing where she's off TV forever. She comes back and doesn't
get excited.
Like, how do you don't have enough women to do nothing with one of your most talented ones? I don't know.
Yeah, Zelina Vega's not winning. Natalya's not winning. Tamina's not winning. Nikki Cross is probably not winning. Yeah, this field is pretty much Alexa Bliss. And honestly, I could see I want Liv Morgan to win bad. I think she's the story here. But I just don't see them doing it. I can honestly see them. I think it's Alexa Bliss than Asuka. I think Asuka is literally the number 2 in this match. If you're talking about just people in this match, I think Asuka is literally the second one.
I think Liv Morgan was a lot closer to having her name next to Ruby Riott on the cut list than winning the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Well, who knows? Maybe it's time, you know?
No.
Good story building. I want to see good story building pay off.
Alexa's the only one in
Instead,
this
she's gonna be
match.
dead on the ground while like Asuka or Alexa Bliss is grabbing that briefcase.
Alexa's the only one in this match with a chance. And then,
That's
but
what
I'm
it is.
expecting swerves. I'm expecting Sasha or Becky or something crazy like this. You look at this is a really undermining 8 women to have this match. I'm sorry, it is like
It's a little underwhelming. I think the reason why it's underwhelming is because nobody can win, and also, like you said, they put the tag team champions in this match who we didn't think had a chance
and
in the
they
first place,
released
and they're
all
not
the
going to win
women.
because they're the tag team champions. So
And Becky's hurt, and all the women are
they
released.
literally
So
don't have any.
this is what you have to do. They don't have people to
Yeah.
fill in spots.
All right, let's move over to the men's one where we said that there's a little bit more of an open competition here. We've got Ricochet versus John Morrison versus Riddle versus Drew McIntyre versus Big E versus Kevin Owens versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus Seth Rollins.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Riddle's been doing probably the best work out of anyone, like with the Randy Orton stuff. He's been really good. I don't think he wins though, right? I don't think that's like his path.
I think you can count him and John Morrison out of this match, and most likely Ricochet too, unless they want, like, they think fans are back and they think that they can get a big pop out of an underdog winning like the last match of the night. Like,
Ricochet's gotten a lot of momentum, I feel like, in recent
they've
weeks.
done stuff with him before. Like that's what I mean. Like they put him in main event spots before, so that's why I'm like not going to count him completely.
He fought Brock in one of the Saudi Arabia matches,
Yeah.
but Brock just dismantled
Yeah,
him
I mean,
in 10 seconds. That was one of those matches where like we knew Brock was going to win, but we were really hoping Ricochet would put like a nice showing and like help like establish him. It was just F5, he died. But yeah, no, I think Ricochet is like he's probably in a similar Liv Morgan underdog class. Like I think they're both like good in the same, you know what I mean? Like in the same grouping.
Yeah, I think Ricochet has a much better chance of winning this match than Liv Morgan has a chance of winning that match, though. What my thing with Ricochet is, I don't know if he's gonna win, but they're gonna make it a point for him to look really, really good in this match.
He's gonna have an amazing spot where he jumps off of a ladder onto.
I think it's gonna be multiple. Like I think multiple like moves in this match. You're gonna look back and be like, all right, I don't know if Ricochet is gonna win, but he's gonna look amazing in this match.
I think it also comes back to you think about him and can you see him as WWE champion, Universal champion? I can't.
I mean, like, I guess that's the thing with the briefcase is like if I could take your character seriously, which I can take Ricochet seriously, right? And then he cashes in the briefcase, like anyone should be able to win with the Money in the Bank briefcase. That's just the nature of the Money in the Bank briefcase, right? So I think I can answer your question. Yes, for a short amount of time, I can see Ricochet as WWE champion. You know, he'll get the whole, height doesn't matter, all that like small guy stuff, hype around him. He can win a few pay-per-view matches and be WWE champion for a little bit of time. So I mean, at least I feel like he could do that. And not that he would carry the title for a year, but just something for him. I think that he could, that if they made that decision, I would believe it for a little while. You know what I mean? Like we've seen Daniel Bryan and guys that are not huge. Like even we'll talk about Seth Rollins. I mean, Seth Rollins is 6'1". He's not a giant out there, but he's had tremendous amount of success.
Complexity in his body, like he looks like.
No, yeah, I mean, obviously, but I'm just saying, like I believe he can do it. But then I mean the rest of the field is just absolutely stacked.
Yeah.
Big E's the other one. We'll talk about him before we talk about the rest of the field. But Big E hasn't won a championship yet, a main championship yet. He was Intercontinental champion for a cup of coffee, and then they decided to take that off of him. Speaking of, what is our Intercontinental champion doing this pay-per-view? Oh, nothing. He's doing nothing. What about our United States champion? I believe it's still Apollo.
Okay. Yeah. It's
just go back to E. We can talk about how Sheamus doesn't have a match either.
I was just I just remember that it was Sheamus like on Raw when he like showed up with like a face mask on.
Yeah, he's obviously been hurt, so I'll cut him some slack for not defending the title. But yeah, we'll go back to E because I want to talk about these matches. This match is going to be really, really good.
Yeah, I think he's probably one of the favorites for sure, if not the favorite. It's just like weird with him because like he's another guy that you always hear about how high everyone is on him for obvious reasons. He's awesome in the ring, he's great on the mic. They split up the New Day, and I think we kind of thought like that was weird, but they probably had big plans for E if they put him on SmackDown by himself. Like maybe he's going after Roman, maybe he's going after a real title, maybe he's doing something. And then he fought Apollo for about 5 months, and he started a feud with Aleister Black. Aleister Black was then released like a week after the feud started. And now we're here where like I'm sure they're still high on him, but based on like initial reports, like how it's hard to imagine like how they feel for him right now.
Yeah, with E, it's interesting. I personally do not want to see him win the briefcase on Sunday. I don't. I'm looking at the compelling storylines, and I'm saying, all right, Ricochet will be the feel-good story. Morrison and Riddle and Nakamura, I can't really see compelling storylines. And McIntyre, I don't want to see him even come close to winning. And I actually don't think McIntyre is going to win. I don't think they're going to give it to him. But
Riddle could play into it, but he has this whole other thing going.
Right now, the reason why I don't want to see Riddle win it is because I don't want them to touch what he's doing right now because I think he's doing so well, and I think the blow off with Randy is going to be incredible. I think it's going to be a lot of fun where like Randy's going to RKO him in the middle of the ring, and the next week he's going to come out and like apologize to him and be like, Randy, come on, let's just talk. Like it's going to be all hysterical and great, and Randy's playing the part great too. But
he made a comment though on one of his shows how like he's gonna win the briefcase and Randy are gonna cash in together and win the tag
win the tag team titles. Yeah,
I can see that happening, and like Randy just like kicking the crap out of them.
That's another reason why I don't think Riddle's gonna win. But, all right, let's get to the two. I think if we're gonna talk about how good storylines would be, I think Seth Rollins or Kevin Owens winning this briefcase could make for just like if you think about the way Kevin Owens could torture Roman Reigns until he eventually gets moved on to Raw with the briefcase. I think I get giddy over that because like I think like he could literally torture Roman with the cash in every week on SmackDown. Every week, just be like, remember, I'm here. Like I'm here. Yeah. Roman's laying down on the ground after John like attacks him or something like that. Kevin Owens music hits. And every single week, just getting in his head. And then we have the opposite. We have the other thing. We have Seth Rollins, and we know the history there with John Cena, with Roman Reigns. I think if you give it to either of these two guys immediately, Friday night on SmackDown, you could start with having this Money in the Bank briefcase, and it'll be a problem, like for the champion. You know what I mean? Either way they go here. And I think it's two very different storylines. You could do it with the face way with Kevin Owens, or you could do it the heel way with Seth Rollins. And they both work so well. So if personally, going back to the question I asked you before, where I said push young talent or give it to a vet, this Sunday, because of some of the storylines that could play out, I want to see them give it to a vet. I want to see them give it to Kevin Owens or Seth Rollins.
No, yeah, that both makes a lot of sense. It's weird with Kevin Owens for me because like I love Kevin Owens. Like I always pick him. He never wins. Like he literally loses all of these matches. But I was like, that would be awesome if he won. I do think Seth is the best case scenario. Like you said, like they're starting to intertwine them. For the first, I don't know, 6 months, they were both on SmackDown. They didn't have a backstage segment together. They kept them away from each other. Now they're starting to like kind of go into each other where they had a backstage or yelling at each other. And Seth said like, you take care of your cousin or I will. Like they were doing all that stuff. Edge is involved now and they're planting the seeds for Edge to fight Seth at SummerSlam probably. But it's hard for me to say Seth is going to win, but I do.
I mean, I just don't think he's going to win. I honestly think looking at it now, I think you might be right. I think he is probably the favorite. And I mean, like, I would say Kevin Owens might have a better chance than Rollins at this point. I just don't think Seth is going to win. I think they have bigger plans. And let's be honest, as fun as it would be with Seth with this briefcase, he does not need this at all. Like out of all these guys in the match, him and McIntyre just do not need this at all. Like they
Right.
will be relevant. They will fight
Drew,
for titles.
Drew definitely doesn't like.
If Drew wins this briefcase, I'm gonna be so annoyed.
He's
Like
not going to
every
win.
other one of these guys, like forget if John Morrison wins this briefcase, like good for John Morrison. Like I'll just say hats off, good for John Morrison. You know what I mean? But if Drew McIntyre wins this briefcase, like that is just completely not.
Drew is going to have the briefcase in his hands, and Jinder's going to push the ladder down. He's not going to win.
That would be so fine. I'm glad Jinder's back. Cool, good for Jinder. I'm glad he's back.
But with Seth, I'm not going to say he needs it. He obviously doesn't need to win, but Seth has not done anything of note in like quite a long time. This would be a really good way to like establish. He doesn't need reestablishing.
Seth is going to face Edge at SummerSlam. Like that. That's more note that he's going to get.
But like, think about what he's done for the last 6 months. Like, he's done nothing.
I mean, it's just not his turn. He needs to either go over to Raw or get into that feud with Roman. But I don't think he needs the briefcase. Like that's the thing with like their ties. He never needs the briefcase to have that feud. Like it's just gonna happen naturally.
He doesn't need it, but I think it makes it a lot cleaner of a transition. And also, he did his best work as Mr. Money in the Bank.
Yeah, that was like 4 Seth Rollins ago. Though.
I know, but I'm saying like
I don't think it's gonna be the same effect. He's not.
We can tie that back, and we could lean on the Shield stuff a little bit, and we could do some things where. No, I mean, I don't know. It's tricky. It's tricky. I think Kevin Owens works too, but I can't, like I said, I can't consciously say Kevin Owens. I take Kevin Owens every match he has, he never wins. I'm serious. Like all these matches now, I'm like, maybe KO wins this one. He never wins.
At the end of the day, I just don't think they give it to E either. So like, I really think this briefcase is up for grabs. Like, I know E's the favorite, but something inside of me is just like, I don't think they give it to him. I don't know why.
No, yeah, that's another, like I was saying about him. Like, they have all these big hopes and plans for him, and they haven't done anything in the 6-7 months since they broke him up from the New Day. And it's just, you should probably do something. I don't know.
All right, so I guess
one more thing about this. I feel like you should give it to a Seth or a KO because they really dropped the ball last year with Otis. Like, it was bad.
Yeah. They need. I will agree with that. I think giving it to someone serious right now that's not Drew McIntyre. Let me make that clear. Not Drew McIntyre. I think that would be a good thing. Nakamura is the other name that we haven't really talked much about. You don't want to see it at all?
No shot.
Okay.
He was weird things with Rick Boogs and Corbin. Nah, he has no chance.
This is a shame to me because when he was like, there was that moment where we thought like it was going to be him and not Adam Pearce challenging Roman Reigns for the championship match, and everyone got really excited. Then it wound up being KO at the pay-per-view. But Nakamura, that was really cool, and I think everyone got really excited for a moment, and then nothing came of it. So Nakamura is one of those guys where, again, I'm happy regardless who wins this match. I think all of these guys, except for Drew McIntyre. I don't want to see Drew McIntyre win this match.
It was Cesaro at that match. Like, Cesaro was about to have a contract expire, but he signed the deal back, so they just put him in the match with Roman, and Nakamura was nowhere to be found.
No. It was the pay-per-view before. This was the Royal Rumble lead up. It was like okay. Yeah. It was the scramble, the 5-man scramble, and then like one person came in after another, and then Adam Pearce was the last entrant in the match after Nakamura beat Kevin Owens was hurt. He beat like 6 guys, and one of them was like really big.
He like Rey Mysterio, Daniel Bryan. He'd be like,
yeah. He beat DB. That was who it was. He beat DB in like the last match before, and then Roman killed him, and then Pierce came out and pinned him. Yeah, and that was that. Weird. Anyway, yeah. All right. So, gun to your head. Who do you got winning this one?
This is actually like a really hard one.
This is really tough. I'm gonna look on the odd shark later, and it's gonna be like, Big E is actually a -1,000 favorite to win this match, and I'm like, well, I guess we read this completely the wrong way.
The thing is, like, I'm trying to think. I would be really happy about Seth, but I think a lot of people wouldn't be. I think a lot of people would like kind of groan. They probably want to do something. This is so hard. It's KO
Take John
or
Morrison.
Seth.
Take John Morrison.
Let's take E. I mean, like, I don't think he's gonna win. I'll take Kevin Owens. The fans will pop for Kevin Owens.
I agree. That's who I was leaning towards too. I think I have to agree with you. I think I have to take Kevin Owens, which is weird because we have two multi-people match and we both pick the same person on both of them. But I agree. I think that you want to give the fans what they came to see at least Sunday night, and I think that that's Kevin Owens winning this match. I think that would be a big pop.
I think Seth, in my opinion, is best case scenario, but I also think a lot of fans would not be too pleased if Seth won this match. And I think they're too gun shy on Big E, and that's.
I don't know if I think Kevin Owens gets the loudest pop out of all these guys. Or Nakamura, right? Like, I don't think E gets that reaction that KO would get.
I guess it depends on the fans, but yeah.
And then, I mean, Morrison, the crowd would just be stunned. I don't think anyone would be able to.
I'm not talking about Morrison.
And then Riddle, I think everyone would be really happy, but like, Ricochet is the guy with the outside chance. I think it's very outside, but I think he's got an outside chance at it. So what are we saying? We're saying we both think Kevin Owens, but we would not be surprised if Rollins or E won. Right? So those are the three guys.
Yeah.
And then I'm putting Ricochet 4, and then everybody else just I don't really care.
I don't have to talk about anyone else except for those three.
So you don't like Jinder's new stuff? You don't like it?
With the motorcycle and the two goons? Nah, it doesn't really do
I actually think those two goons are a lot better than the goons that he had when he was WWE champion. I mean, those guys look like they could beat, those guys look like they
cares.
Well, they look like they're formidable, and I think that matters. Now, I mean, like, we'll see what they do with them, but like,
Jinder does nothing for me. He never has.
I'm excited. Good, welcome back, Jinder. All right. Anyway, so that's it. That's Money in the Bank. Looking at this men's match, I'm actually really excited for this men's match. This should be one of the better Money in the Banks in recent memory, and I say should be because Do you concur?
Yeah, I think you're gonna like elaborate. Like you
said, that's it. I just think it's gonna be one of the better ones.
It should be awesome. They have guys like Morrison and Ricochet in there just to do crazy spots. They have a bunch of legitimate top guys in there that could challenge for the belt. They have some underdogs in there that could get some hope spots in. It's gonna be a really good match.
As long as Drew McIntyre doesn't win it.
He's not gonna win.
He's not gonna win. Mark says, Mark, give me a Mark guarantee that he's not gonna win it.
I guarantee John Morrison, Drew McIntyre, and Nakamura will not win this match.
All right, there you go. Those are the guarantees right there. Love it. All right, I think with that, that's going to do it for us. So thank you guys for watching. We're glad to be back. We're glad the fans are back, and we'll see you next week for our takes on Drew McIntyre eventually winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. Goodbye.